Good morning everyone, and welcome to today's case study session on advertising in the metaverse, exploring the real effects of AR. In today's session, we'll be hearing from a range of professionals in the AR space, explaining exactly why AR is so important and how it can work for a wealth of brands across the sector. There is no doubt about it that AR can make a huge impact for brands. And of course, it can be exciting. But for us, today is about moving beyond the excitement and identifying through research and verification exactly why AR should be on more digital plans. But before we get stuck into all that, we thought it'd be a great opportunity to introduce Dr. Alistair Good at this point from Gorilla in the Room, to give us a better understanding into AR in the here and now and the role that it's currently playing in the wider metaverse. Following this, Arifa Hock from Yahoo will explain more around the challenges of using and measuring AR in advertising, before finally handing over to Sarah Robson at On Device Research, who will be exploring the results of the first ever real-life study of AR and what the results tell us about the use of this platform within the media and advertising industry. So without further ado, please welcome Alistair.
So, before we talk about the study, let's first talk about advertising and the metaverse. Often buzzwords like the metaverse get rolled out only to be cast aside when the next big idea comes along. But the metaverse may well be one of those paradigm shifts, like social media, where in a few times we may well struggle to remember life without it. The most common description of the metaverse is a set of virtual environments you access via a headset, where you can explore, meet and co-create with other people who are in a different location to you. A bit like this. This definition has been pushed by Facebook, or Meta, but don't be misled by the conceptual land grab to define what the metaverse is. It's going to be much more than this. As well as these fully digital worlds, the concept of the metaverse also needs to capture the blending of our digital and physical worlds via augmented reality. This is where a digital asset via a camera on a device is placed into the real world. A bit like this. This digital asset can be viewed from all directions and can be even made to be interactive. But of course, it will never be anywhere as good as the original. At the moment, people experience AR using a phone or a tablet. Most of you own an AR-capable device. And as we're going to talk about in this case study, brands are starting to take advantage of AR as a new media. And there's good reason to, as there are significant benefits from using it. AR experiences can be triggered from packs, logos, even other ads. This means that the brand's unique assets become the media channel. Also, it makes products feel about 4 to 5 times more real. But in this case study we're presenting here, AR was used as part of an advertising campaign. We know a powerful way in which advertising works is by inducing positive emotions with a brand or a product that we hope come flooding back at the point of purchase decision, increasing the likelihood of sale. So, using AR to make brands feel real as part of a promotion means we can narrow the gap between creativity and execution and the product experience. In this case, the product was incorporated into the AR experience, and hence the positive response induced by the creative idea would be more likely hardwired to the product itself. What results is a deeper connection between the product and the creative idea. Hence, these stronger bonds will be carried forward in the consumer's mind to the point of purchase more effectively. Another major benefit of AR advertising, what was relevant in this case, is that by definition it's interactive. Consumers can use their handheld and eventually it'll be head-mounted devices to move around and view the experience from different positions. Thus, using clever creative design, the viewer is not just a passive observer to an ad, but actually physically involved in generating the advertising experience. And of course, a final advantage with AR is that an ad's context will now no longer be limited to a platform such as a screen or a print format. AR ads can be incorporated literally anywhere and everywhere into the consumer's world. But of course, this leaves us with a new question. Firstly, how to measure the effectiveness of AR advertising, and secondly, where will it sit in the media mix? By answering the first question, we hope to work towards answering the second. In this paper, we were able to use brand metrics to demonstrate AR works very well with pre and post measures. But the key question is, how do we understand what it is about an AR experience that has shifted those metrics? At Gorilla in the Room, we've been working on this problem for a number of years, and our solution was to realize that AR delivered via handsets generated a huge amount of data from the gyroscope and accelerometers when people were moving the devices around while viewing the AR experience. Our challenge was to not only be able to work out how to capture this vast data set, but also create algorithms that give meaning to these millions of data points. This allows us to interpret people's movements when interacting with AR. What we created gives us a picture of how people actually behaved and interacted with each augmented reality advert. Our bespoke algorithms show measures showing how interested people are, how much they explored the experience, and how engaged they were. We can then plug this technology into online surveys, as we did with our research partners on this project on device, and show how we can complement the metrics that were taken, demonstrating what led to positive shifts in brand attitudes. Arifa and Sarah will now take you through the study.
A study back in 2019 revealed one of the biggest struggles with adopting AR was the poor measurement capabilities. Alongside the lack of technical understanding, there were cost concerns in producing new creative, low consumer adoption, and not being sure how AR can fit in their campaigns. Some of these themes continue to live on, challenging our industry and inviting us to explore how we overcome them, which we'll expand on shortly. 2 years on, the COVID pandemic has had an impact as an unexpected catalyst for accelerating the adoption of AR, VR and tech solutions in general. 3/4 of Europeans now expect digital experiences and interactions with brands online to be seamless, innovative and enhance our real world. This increases to 91% amongst 18 to 24s, providing a need and route in for AR, VR ad solutions. Now, our recent research shows that consumers are actually eager to interact with AR, VR ads, with the majority of European consumers being excited by the prospect of VR, AR experiences, particularly at the point prior to purchase, with a further half of Europeans stating that they like the fact that AR and VR allows people to experience products and services before they buy them. There clearly is a disconnect between the growing demand for AR immersive experiences and the pace at which advertisers and marketeers are becoming comfortable with the technology. Now, whilst the topic of AR has been around for a few years, measuring the impact of it still remains in its infancy. The first and perhaps the most important challenge to advertisers from a research perspective is demonstrating why investing in AR is worth considering in their media budget plans. Forward-thinking brands within categories such as automotive and retail are leading the charge in delivering to consumers something that goes well beyond the usual advertising experience, whilst others are still to explore the possible benefits they can deliver. We have seen a shift in the way AR, VR activations are being used. Broadly speaking, it started in the entertainment space, and whilst utilising this technology to provide a sense of playfulness still has a role to play, so too has the level of realism and convenience that these services can also offer. Now, I believe it will be the blend of the fun and excitement with the realism and convenience that will enable further spend to be unlocked against these emerging mediums. In order to demonstrate the value AR, VR could bring to an advertising plan, we need to A, build and develop on learnings on what the role medium plays and potentially owns, and B, explore how it complements the wider digital media mix. As always, the measurement technique is key, as in order to have faith in the data collected, the data capture has to be as natural an environment as possible. This leads us on to our Pringles case study, which was a media partnership with Xbox. Our goal here was to test the effect AR could have on Pringles branding. However, due to its data privacy laws, Xbox is a platform where no tagging is permitted, and hence we need to recreate the environment and accurately measure the true impact of AR within it. We wanted to quantify whether AR made the campaign work harder against key brand metrics, and if so, how. This case continued to add to our growing body of work in this space, enabling us to increase our understanding and consultancy around AR with our clients. Now I am going to hand over to Sarah, who will talk you through the methodology we undertook in a little more detail and the results.
Thanks, Arifa. So reflecting on this, does AR drive a change in brand perceptions? So with all this in mind, Yahoo set us a challenge of measuring brand uplifts for a Pringles campaign, which used AR alongside its traditional formats and platforms to measure whether brand perceptions moved more using AR immersive formats than traditional platforms. Whilst using our digital brand impact solution, which offers a combination of innovative ad exposure technology to verify digital activity, we also worked with another app provider, Gorilla in the Room, developing an innovative new method which allowed us to accurately assess the effect of augmented reality shortly after respondents were exposed to AR. As such, for the first time, we could ascertain the true exposure to AR, as opposed to a visual or description of what was happening. This gave Pringles the ability to assess the AR spend more objectively and independently than ever before. Additionally, as a result of using two methods alongside each other, we were able to measure cross-channel brand impact, i.e. traditional measurement for digital activity combined with the new AR solution. This allowed Yahoo to measure which channel impacted what brand metrics. To measure brand success at on-device, we measure uplifts in the brand main KPIs between an exposed and a control group. As such, for the first time, we could ascertain the true immersive exposure to AR, opposed to a video, visual, or a description of what was happening. This gave Pringles the ability to assess their AR spend more objectively and independently than ever before. Additionally, as a result of using two methods alongside each other, we were able to measure cross-brand impact, i.e. traditional measurement for display combined with the new AR solution. This allowed Yahoo to measure which channel impacted what brand metrics. Key to measurement was to ensure that when measuring the true impact of AR versus other platforms, that people were exposed to the entire experience. The image above highlights the user experience and how the process worked, from being invited to the task through our app, Curious Cat, directed onto the AR platform through to taking part in the brand uplift survey. Here is a 2D video of the experience. So did it work? This chart highlights the main brand metrics for measuring success for the Pringles campaign, from measuring awareness to brand perceptions such as a snack for me, through to purchase intent. The figure in circles show the percentage uplift measure across the total campaign across all platforms that Yahoo were using, including native, pre-roll and so on. And underneath, the uplifts measured for those who experienced the true AR experience. As you can see, by being exposed to the AR and connecting to the brand, it shifted the key KPIs more so than any other platform, although the other platforms still had a key role to play. To further strengthen the importance of measuring AR element in a truly immersive way, where consumers connect with the brand and the effect this has on brand metrics, we also measure the AR experience by showing our panelists a video of the experience. Although the video of the experience did shift brand metrics, the full immersive experience shifted the brand metrics more, especially at the top end of the funnel. Research design not only allowed a passive understanding of the IR, but also a true understanding of the real exposures upon consumers. This is what has ultimately led us to a breakthrough in increasing understanding of AR's use in advertising to date. Coupled with brand metrics, we also measured how people felt about the creative. There was strong emotional positive response across the board for the Pringles campaign across all formats, but the AR experience provoked the most positive reaction at 83% of people liking the ad and an average of 73% across the other digital platforms. This is also borne out with the verbatim we received on the creatives, where the vast majority finding the formats exciting and fun, increasing connectivity with the brand. But there were also some comments which also highlighted that there is some way to go with acceptance of AR required, as some people found the formats weren't quite sure, was a bit random and didn't really relate to the product. Gorilla in the Room were also able to measure engagement metrics as people took part in the AR experiments through their Discover AR app. They measure whether people clicked, dwell times, which content they hovered over, whether they were engaged with the content by clicking through all the content on the screen. For example, you could interact with the hand and make the hand move in different directions and on the packet of Pringles itself. Interest shows the extent the respondents made an effort to study the product, whether they were engaged with it. These metrics were summarised into two main metrics, interest and investigation. Interest looks at how long people were engaged with the content, where they clicked, for example. Investigation goes further, shows whether they explored every aspect of the product in more depth, for example, clicking on the hand and turning the tub around. Gorilla in the Room had FMCG benchmarks for these metrics. For interest, 47% of respondents showed a level of interest which was above this benchmark, whereas 91% showed a level of interest which was either above or in line with the benchmark. Similarly for investigation, 35% of those showed an interest above the FMCG norms and 62% again in line or above the benchmarks. This demonstrated that people were really highly engaged with this Pringles creative. The brand metrics also highlighted the effect of how much involvement people had in the AR format. For the three most important brand metrics for Pringles, you see where there was high interest and high engagements, we saw higher brand metrics. So in summary then, although AR is becoming more mainstream, we also need to remember that it's still in discovery stage. Our case study doesn't conclude everything. Pringles was just positioning itself as a snack for gaming, and the AR environment obviously fitted really well in this audience, and it was just being such an immersive platform, it fitted perfectly with the brand. The study demonstrates that AR has a key role to play, and more widely across the brand funnel, it indicates that brand metrics are moved, and it also shows where it sits in the wider media mix. But we appreciate it's different for a different range of clients, and obviously more testing needs to be done on different categories. We hope you enjoyed today's session on AR in the metaverse, exploring the real effects of AR. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to join us afterwards in the Q&A session. Thank you.